gotta call Billy Bob up on the walkie-talkie and tell him we're going the wrong way.
Georgie, will you please put that map down? I think I know the way to my own hometown.
Can I please have a straw?
Oh, we're out, honey. Can't you just drink from the cup?
No! Every time I take a sip, all the ice bunches around my lips and makes them too cold.
What's the problem?
The ice bunches around his lips and makes him too cold. He needs a straw.
They're freezing!
Well, Elliot, put your lips on the outside of the cup, all right? For a while, that'll warm them up. And Ben, is it really necessary to keep playing that same song for 2 days?
I wouldn't have to play my tape deck if this crummy moving van had a radio. Why didn't you just pay somebody to move us?
I told you, son, we're trying to save money. You know, you just don't buy and start a newspaper on peanuts. Anyway, there's nothing wrong with this truck. It's a perfectly fine truck.
It's got naked women on the tire flap.
I'm sure your father meant to take them off before we left.
You're right. I'm sorry. I guess I got a little busy packing 5,000 crates and boxes.
I wish with all that packing, you could have packed some extra straws.
Yeah.
Hey, Dad, Rug Boy's acting like he needs to go again.
Well, of course he needs to go again. He's got a bladder the size of a peanut.
Well, you sure do like to talk about peanuts. First, we can't start a newspaper on peanuts. Then Rug Boy's bladder.
Thank you, Ellie. I think we got it. Appreciate it.
Hey, Dad, I thought you said we're moving so we could go on to a better life. So we can grow up like Dopey Taylor or whatever his name is.
Opie Taylor.
And drink the water out of the same river we fish in.
That's right, guys. I'm going to take you to a secret place where your grandfather fished. And his father before him. No tourists, no dams, totally unpolluted.
Woo.
And then afterwards, I'm going to take you to the Frosty Freeze, where they have the best cherry Cokes in America. They used to have this car hop named Dolores who would bring your food to you roller skating on one skate.
Why?
Why? Because it was something to do. You just don't get this small town thing, do you? That's because you never lived in one. Just wait, you'll see.
Look, Billy Bob's truck is leaking something. Oh, it's green. What is that?
I don't know. Just don't look at it.
What do you think it is?
I don't know, son. Maybe it's gasoline.
No, gasoline's not green.
Well, then it's probably mucus.
Seriously, Hartnett, where did you rent these vans?
All right, if you must know, it was a place called, gee, I can't believe it's a truck, okay? Anyway, it's just one of the many reasons why we're moving to a small town, because people in small towns have integrity. They don't hide their shoddy products behind cute names. When I was growing up, it was Phil's Moving and Storage. Phil moved you, Phil stored your stuff, Phil's name was on the bill, the buck stopped with Phil.
Boy, Dad, sounds like you liked him a lot.
Well, I only met him once.
Was he strong?
I don't know.
How tall was Phil?
Just forget Phil, all right?
Come in, Billy Bob. This is Gee, I can't believe it's a truck calling our convoy sister ship. Gee, I can't believe it's even allowed to be on the road.
Oh, that's very funny.
Billy Bob, did you know your truck is smoking and leaking?
What a surprise. I probably don't have any antifreeze.
Of course, it's all moot now because I don't have any brakes either.
Hang on, buddy. We're almost home. And from now on, we use Phil's Moving and Storage. Remember him?
Yeah, he went to prison for stealing furniture.
Dad, putting my lips back in my cup now, okay?
Okay, Elliot.
I really didn't mind going 200 miles out of our way, even if I didn't have a rear view mirror or lights. But you know, you gotta admit, it's kind of weird when you call an 800 number and you tell them that you're having your truck repaired and they say, oh, just go ahead and keep it.
Hey, Billy, did you notice all those new shopping centers as we were coming in?
No, that must have been when my radiator finally caught fire. What do you want me to do with this bag?
Put them in the den. Right there at the city limits where there used to be about 1,000 acres of pine forest. Now it's just a bunch of ugly concrete stores with stupid names like Al Garwood's Bedspread Kingdom.
John, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. Can we discuss this later?
And what's the deal with that guy in the glass booth at the Texaco station?
Who?
Oh, that smug tattoo guy with the ponytail. Whatever happened to Mr. Phipps? He always had a smile for everybody in that spiffy bow tie.
John, Mr. Phipps died about 20 years ago.
You're kidding. I didn't know that. Mr. Phipps would never sit behind a big piece of glass and watch two people beat on an engine fire with their good winter coats.
Okay, Cookies, bring your gym bags. We'll get the rest later. I just want to say, never have so many been so confined for so long with someone so unbelievably cranky.
Well, save it for your travel diary, little Miss Compass Head.
Would you two please knock it off? Never seen you fight like this before.
Yeah, well, we never had to spend 48 hours cooped up in an ice cream truck from hell, either.
I know this is silly since this is your parents' house, but doesn't this look a lot like my mother? Hey, Mom.
Billy, oh, I fell asleep. Oh, I just must look frightening.
Yeah, stop it, Mom. You're scaring us. Say good morning to your granddaughter.
Oh, Carson Lee, my precious child. She should be in bed, Billy.
I know, Mom, but you see, we took the polar route.
Hey, Mrs. Davis.
John, you come here and give me a hug.
How are you?
Oh, now your parents phoned 3 times from Indonesia to see if you had arrived. I tell you, they are just heartbroken that they can't be here.
Well, they're coming for Christmas. How you doing? You look gorgeous and not 1 year older.
Eddie Haskell, he's back and he's bad.
Do you remember Georgie?
Oh, my goodness, of course I do. Hello, Georgie.
Hi.
How are you?
Well, we're all a little grungy. You might not want to get too close.
Well, if you want to get out of your things, I could wash and iron them for you.
Pace yourself, Mom. We're going to be here 50 years.
I've been worried sick about you. I mean, there is so much crime on the highways. I was reading in the paper where this man checked into a motel. He was anesthetized while he slept. He woke up the next morning without one of his kidneys. He was apparently a victim of an organ donor theft ring.
See? And you were worried about no brakes. You're lucky you didn't lose an organ.
So are you.
Look who's here, old boys. Oh, you are getting so big, Elliot. You're beginning to look just like your daddy.
Dan, will you turn that off? Will you look at this? There must be at least 40 covered dish casseroles in here. Mrs. Davis, you didn't have to do that.
Yes, she did.
Hey, Georgie, you need to get those recipes. This is the kind of cooking I grew up on.
Oh, yeah, I'll get right on that. As soon as I unpack my aprons and spinning wheel.
She doesn't understand. In small towns, this is what people do. They're never too busy to fill a refrigerator, lend a helping hand, visit a sick friend.
That's right. You see, where I grew up in the big city, well, when somebody gets sick, we just take him out back and shoot him.
Oh, you joke. But I'll tell you something else. Not once when I was growing up did we ever have to lock that front door.
Oh, by the way, here's your new key. We had to get the locks changed after somebody walked in and stole all the TVs and stereos.
Evidently, never too busy to steal a home entertainment center either.
You're kidding. When did this happen?
Oh, last week. I tell you, things are just getting terrible around here. Well, I'm even having to crochet a new butterfly to put on my radio antenna because somebody stole the old one. I need it sometimes because I have a little problem finding my car at Walmart. Anyway, last Christmas, they even stole the angels Betty Burnett made for Holiday House right off the tree. Of course, they were nothing but Relar tampons with little faces painted on them and doilies on the backs. Still, it's just the principle.
Hey, Dad, where's everybody supposed to sleep?
Well, let's see. Why don't you boys take my old room? Carson Lee can have the guest room. Billy, you grab the sofa.
Oh, I get it. Also known as, gee, I can't believe it's a bed.
Oh, I wish I hadn't taken in that boarder. I mean, Billy, you and Carson Lee should be staying with me.
Mom, you don't have room. And besides, Carson Lee and I are just bunking here till the newspaper gets rolling, and then when we get a place of our own, you can hang your butterfly on our house.
Something wrong, son?
My Snoopy pajamas are not in here.
It's my fault. I packed the ones with Bart Simpson on them. I mean, I should have guessed with the move and all he'd be a little insecure and he'd want Snoopy.
Look, Elliot, these pajamas are fine. You like Bart Simpson.
No, I don't. I want the one with Snoopy on them.
Well, I'm sorry, son, but your Snoopy pajamas are packed away in the van. There's no telling where they are.
Heck, I may have even used them to wipe the windshield with. I'm joking. The truck didn't even have a windshield.
I could probably make him a new pair. I'm a pretty fast seamstress.
Yeah, Mom, we want you to make Elliot some new pajamas, and then could you stick around on standby in case somebody needs a new prom dress?
Hey, guys, let's grab your stuff. Come on, Elliot, Ben, pajamas on, upstairs, bedtime.
I want my Snoopy pajamas.
He's just tired. Ordinarily, he's a very fine boy.
Look, this is my fault. Why don't you put the Bart Simpson bottoms on them for now? I mean, they don't have Bart's picture on them or anything. They could technically be Snoopy bottoms, right?
What's your point?
My point is, I'll go out to the van, I'll get the Snoopy top with Snoopy's name and picture on them, and then we can put him on while he's asleep. I mean, it'd be almost as good as if he started out in them.
What?
I think it'd be easier to just anesthetize him and take his kidney.
Yeah, well, I've got a better idea. How How about he wakes up in the pajamas he doesn't like and learns the hard, cold lesson that sometimes life is not fair, that we don't always get our Snoopy tops, that sometimes we get moving vans with no radios and tire flaps with naked women on them, and that good men die all over the world every day without ever having once sipped through a straw. Or I could just go get the pajamas. Now what?
Oh, I think we left Rug Boy in the van.
Oh, great. That'll be another mess for me to clean up.
Oh, dear. I'll be happy to do it.
She can't help herself. Listen, if she tries to follow you outside, just give her a whiff of Lysol. That'll hold her for a while. Hello? Yes, it is. And you are? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Wait a minute. We didn't lease any office space to anybody. All right. Okay. Well, we'll be down in a minute. All right, then. Bye.
What was that about?
Oh, some crazy woman says we leased part of the newspaper office to her, and that even though there's not a fire, the sprinkler system's going off.
Well, of course it's going off. There's a newspaper, there's a sprinkler system, and we own it. Did anybody really think there wouldn't be a flood? The only thing that remains to be seen now is when we'll also be hit by pestilence and famine.
He's just tired. Ordinarily, he's a very fine boy.
What an unbelievable mess. I should give this to my mother for her birthday. What happened to your socks?
I used them to tie the muffler back on the van, and now I can't find any clean ones.
Okay, we got the sprinklers turned off. Your alarm was defective. I guess that's why no one called.
Well, I'm the only other person in the building here, and I've been on vacation.
Oh, where'd you go?
Nowhere. I just laid on my sofa for 2 weeks and ate Dove bars. I now have the blood sugar level of a dark chocolate Easter bunny. Anyway, I wouldn't have been here today, but I had to come by and pick up a gun.
Excuse me, do you think we could stick to the subject? Billy and I grew up in this town. This is Billy Bob Davis. I'm John Hartman. You may have heard of us.
No?
Anyway, I find it unbelievable that the sidewalk is flooded and nobody bothered to report it.
Well, not a lot of people come down to Main Street anymore. It's not what it used to be.
Yeah, well, we're gonna change all that, starting with this newspaper. It used to be a weekly. We're turning it into a daily.
Whoa, I ought to bring him back again. Hey, Shirley, grab the car and the kids and let's head on down to Main Street. Some people are starting a daily.
I'm talking about a Pulitzer Prize-winning daily. Excuse me, I don't think we've met. I'm Georgianne Lottie.
Madeline Stossinger.
Oh, yeah, you're the one with the office here.
That's right.
And a gun, honey.
Excuse me, but you know there's nothing in our purchasing agreement that says anything about us leasing any office space to anybody.
Hey, don't get your shorts in a bunch, okay? I'm probably going to kill myself later tonight anyway, so if I'm not here tomorrow, I'll just clean out my desk.
Excuse me, have you thought about seeing a psychologist?
I am a psychologist. And frankly, I'm sick and tired of listening to a bunch of whiny people bitch and moan all day long about their problems. And I mean, sometimes they're from 30, 40 years ago. Okay, so you had a bad childhood. Next.
Gee, you know, I grew up in this town, and I don't know anyone who had a bad childhood. In fact, I never knew anyone whose parents were divorced.
Oh? Well, exactly when did you blow back in, Beaver?
Well, just this morning, but I've visited my folks here from time to time, and I gotta tell you that I think that this town is one of the last bastions of common sense, decency, and old-fashioned values.
I guess that means you won't be participating in this year's wet bulge contest down at the fire station.
That's very funny.
Thanks. Listen, I don't know if you're single, but...
Oh, well, actually, I'm with a beef.
Oh, well, I was going to say, in case I do decide to knock myself off, maybe you know someone who'd like my little black book in the top drawer of my desk. It's got the names of all the overweight guys in pinstripe shirts and bow ties well-meaning friends have fixed me up with over the years. I know I'm overweight myself, but I don't care anymore. I'm tired of dating men who look like pigs in children's books.
That's a little rough, isn't it?
I'm sorry, but that's the way I feel. If everyone else is going to be shallow, then I'm going to be shallow too. And just for the record, if anyone asks, I was also tired of being a homosexual way station for gay guys who weren't quite sure about their sexual identity. You know, the ones who go, I think I'm gay, but I want to go out with you one more time and put my tongue in your mouth just to make absolutely certain that, yes, indeed, I am truly repulsed. I am gay.
Well, hope it all works out for you. Goodbye and good luck.
Look, man, this woman is depressed. We can't leave her. She's asking for help.
Really? She looked pretty happy working that Mounds bar over to me.
Excuse me, I know this is none of our business, but you're not really going to shoot yourself, are you?
Oh, don't worry. I can see you have enough to clean up. If I do it here, I'll get inside a hefty bag first.
That's very neighborly.
Then all you have to do is twist the tie on top and roll me out back.
Just a side note, but you might want to include some luggage wheels.
Just a side note. Did anyone ever tell you look just like Bob's big boy?
I thought everyone around here was supposed to be happy.
They were when I left.
Maybe you should leave again. Candy?
No thanks, I just had a casserole.
Look, Daddy, I drew a picture of you. You kind of look like Bob's big boy.
You told her to say that.
No, we're talking $35,000 damage to the printing press and $15,000 for the floors. Where are my reading glasses? No, I'm sure Mr. Fladbow will approve this. He gave me my first car loan for a used Ford Fairlane station wagon when I was 17. You're kidding. He died too? No. Look, I understand. A newspaper is a risk. No, never mind. You're right. Yeah. Why don't you save your loans for the really big stuff? Like in case Al Garwood needs to expand his bedspread kingdom.
You really got to think about this Al Garwood person. Did he sell you a bad spread or something?
I can't believe the man who financed my first car is dead.
John, Mr. Fladbow was 109 when we were in high school. He's entitled to be dead. If he wasn't dead, I wouldn't want to live in this town. It'd be like the night of the living Fladbows.
Well, you look at this. Here's the society section of the old newspaper. And there's a lot of pictures of women in this garden club in here. And not one of them is identified by any part of her own name. It's just her husband's name and his nickname. Can you believe it? Okay, here's Mrs. James Bum Carter. And standing next to her is Mrs. Tom Stump Matthews. And here's Mrs. S. Stinky McDonald. First of all, who'd marry somebody named Stinky? Secondly, why would you take his name?
Well, I think if you really love somebody, you have to overlook the stinky part.
Oh, a philosopher.
So what's your point?
My point is that now that we're living in a small town, I guess I won't be known as Georgianne Lottie anymore. I guess from this day forward, I'll just be known as Mrs. John Beaver Hartman.
You know, I wouldn't be worried about any of that if I were you right now. As a matter of fact, I'm amazed that the two of you are just sitting there debating the pros and cons of marrying somebody named Stinky when it is increasingly apparent to me that we have all just quit 3 perfectly good-paying jobs with the United States Senate to own a newspaper which is currently $50,000 in debt. And unless we find a loan soon, we are going to be sitting on the hood of, gee, I can't believe it's a truck, selling blue blocker sunglasses.
Well, excuse me, but we're all dealing with this in our own way. Your way is to be cranky, but that is not our way.
Son, for the last time, I'm asking you, please turn that song off.
I'd be happy to play something else if anybody can find my tapes.
Don't worry, Ben. You'll be able to buy a whole new supply of tapes once we start moving those blue blockers.
And what are these boxes doing down here again? I thought I put those away in the attic.
Well, we happen to be looking for something for Elliot to take to show and tell. His class has a contest every Friday.
Look, I know, I'll take our special effects kit.
Oh, please, you're not going to get that thing out again.
What is it?
Oh, don't you remember my pop had a friend who was a makeup artist, and when he retired, he gave all his stuff to the kids?
Oh, yeah, that's the deal with the teeth and scars and moles.
And a whole bag of fake boogers. And can I have one? Hey, give me one, too.
Oh, you're not going to put that stuff on your faces. It's disgusting. I don't want to look at it.
I wanted to take it to show it down.
Is this some new thing where he just collapses on the floor every time something doesn't go his way? Because it's pretty effective. Maybe I should go down to the bank and try it.
It's okay, Cookie. You know you couldn't take it anyway. Your teacher said it had to come from a foreign land.
That's right, and these are domestic boogers.
Can we each just have one tour tonight, please?
Oh, all right, go ahead, but just for tonight. You know, it's amazing to me how half of our worldly possessions failed to make it here. I mean, we have no music cassettes, no reading glasses, no socks, but that bag of boogers made the trip without a hitch. I mean, you can't lose that sucker. Obviously, it's not biodegradable. Someday it's going to be the last thing left standing in a landfill. And somehow they're going to trace it back to us.
Personally, I don't know what a Hollywood makeup man would want with something like that anyhow. I don't recall ever seeing anybody in a movie with a booger, do you?
No, not really. Maybe that's why there's so many left. Excuse me, Miss Streep, would you like a little something extra for that final close-up? Oh, no thanks, Al. Maybe tomorrow.
Are you finished? Because if you are, I'd like to get back to the loan thing. Not to mention we do have kids to feed and homework to do.
Okay, but this does seem to be fun for the whole family. I think we just ought to forget this newspaper and become door-to-door fake booger salesmen.
Okay, that's it. Listen, if you don't care that we are standing on the precipice of total annihilation, then I don't care either. Give me a booger. Come on, booger me.
Art, man, it's not that we don't care. It's just that there's a lot going on and everybody's coping in their own way. And frankly, we are trying awfully hard to please you, in spite of your continuing pressure and insensitivities.
What are you talking about?
Well, I'm talking about a lot of things. But as long as we're on the subject, there is a small matter of a pie I baked that you failed to acknowledge.
You're kidding. I didn't know you baked it. I thought Billy's mom left it.
Well, she didn't. It's my pie. I baked it from scratch. I kneaded the dough, I put in the fruit, and frankly, it's not very good.
Well, how about if I have a piece?
I don't want you to have a piece. I just wanted you to know that I made it.
Well, wait a minute. You're acting as if I asked you to bake me a pie.
Well, you didn't say it out loud, but I could feel you wanting it.
Thank goodness, because I thought I was the only one feeling that from him. I almost baked one myself.
Georgie, this is ridiculous. How could you feel me wanting you to bake a pie?
I just can, that's all. And just for the record, I've been feeling this ever since we got here. You're just so petrified I'm not going to fit in on Walton's Mountain.
I felt that, too, even stronger than the pie thing.
Excuse me, amazing Kreskin. We're trying to have a conversation here, okay? That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Oh, yeah? Well, you just remember this. I may not understand small-town ways or women named Mrs. Stinky somebody. I may not know how to make good pies, but I was competent enough to win the Peabody Award for Excellence in Journalism, and I don't see anyone else around here with one of those.
Georgie!
Yeah, well, I don't care to continue this discussion right now. I am going to find something wonderful for Elliot to take to show and tell. I know you may not think I can be a competent mother either, but we'll see about that. And as I said, it has to come from a foreign land, and luckily I have been in many.
Wow, what's this?
Well, this is the ceremonial coming-of-age costume for the Matsui tribe in South America. Well, this is perfect. Why didn't I think of this? I lived with them for 10 days. That was, about a year before I got that Peabody Award.
That was for excellence in journalism, right?
When the Matsui boy turns 16, he puts on this headdress and this belt, and he does this incredible dance of manhood, which they also taught to me.
Wow, what's this for?
Well, they set this frontal piece down here on fire, but we'll just skip that part.
That's a tough gig for turning 16, isn't it? Whatever happened to getting a nice Schaefer pen?
It's a tradition, a ritual, like carving a pumpkin, okay?
Oh.
That's right. I know for me they're very similar. Often, I'll be wanting to carve a pumpkin for Halloween, and I won't feel like going to the store, so I'll just stay at home and set my crotch on fire.
Okay, you guys, you can go ahead and joke about it. But nobody is going to be able to top this.
I heard this rich kid, Brian Folsom, is going to bring some real rocks from the moon.
Oh, please, that's nothing. You can get those things in truck stops now. You're never going to find this baby hanging from a keychain.
John, she's starting to scare me.
Would you come to my class and help me show it?
Sure, I will, Cookie, if you want me to. We'll blow their socks off.
Yeah, well, if you do bring some of them home, I could use them. Georgie, do you really think that's a good idea? I mean, somebody's mom doing a dance of manhood might be pretty confusing to a room full of second graders.
I'm not going to dance. I'm just going to show and tell.
Anyway, I don't think parents usually go.
Last week, Brian Folsom's dad passed out real silver dollars from the U.S. Mint.
On second thought, maybe I will set this sucker on fire.
Oh, you're here. I was just checking on you. You know, you keep saying you might not be back.
Was there something you wanted?
Well, ordinarily, I would never talk to a psychologist about my personal problems. Not that I have any personal problems, but since you're just sitting around in here, I thought I might run something past you.
First of all, I'm not just sitting around in here. I'm looking for a box of bullets. But go on.
Well, Georgie, my wife, has this crazy idea that I'm worried that she's not going to fit in here, when the truth is, all I've been worried about ever since we decided to come is that she's not going to want to stay. See, she's this big-time journalist who fell on hard times and had to take a job in our Senate office. And, I mean, she's lived and worked all over the world. She could have married anybody.
I see your point. That is sad. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
You know that candy machine out there?
Yeah?
When I left yesterday, there was just one Reese's peanut butter cup left in that little window. It's for display only. It's been there for 2 years, and now some idiot took it. It wasn't you, was it?
No.
Good, because it's old, but it's mine. Okay, go on.
Anyway, I've been so concerned about everyone liking it here, I guess I took the fun out of it. I had this idea that I wanted my boys to grow up the way kids don't anymore, but maybe that's not possible anywhere now. I mean, Main Street's gone. There's a serial killer running the gas station. They're even stealing butterflies off little old ladies' car antennas. And most of the really good people, the World War II people, are dead.
You know, I really wish you hadn't come in here. Now I'm really depressed. Now I'm going to have to go home and eat the rest of that life-size chocolate woman my neighbor gave me after his bachelor party was called off. But I digress. Go on.
Oh, well, anyway, I understand my son Elliot's having a hard time because he's like me. He doesn't like change, but... Oh, maybe Georgie will never be happy here. She had to give up a lot. I mean, we're living in my parents' house. My dad's an oil executive with an American-based company in Indonesia.
Aha! And how do you feel about that?
What do you mean?
Never mind. I was just trying to feign professionalism. But I should have said it after that thing about somebody named Elliot having a hard time.
Bottom line is that Georgie is never going to be June Cleaver, but who cares? My boys love her. She takes them hiking into Redskins games, teaches them how to tie the most amazing knots. She even writes bedtime stories with their names in them.
And how do you feel about her?
Like she's all I've ever wanted to be wrapped around for the rest of my life. Like she's the sun, the moon, and the stars all rolled into one. I have to keep my lips on her face just to get oxygen.
What is that on your jacket?
I'm sorry, it's not what you think. I mean, I know it looks like a real booger, but it's not. It's fake. Anyway, it's not even mine.
And also, when the Matsui people fall down, they don't even use a Band-Aid. They glue their cuts together with cow spit and... tree sap. It doesn't even sting. That's all.
That was very nicely done, Elliot. Any questions?
Yeah, could we touch the moon rocks?
We'll pass them around after we vote for the best show and tell. Any questions for Elliot?
Elliot, could your mom move so we can see the moon rocks?
Class, these are questions about Elliot's show and tell only. Anyone? Well, I have a question. What kind of dance is it these young men do while wearing this unusual costume?
I don't know. I only know about the cow spit.
Actually, it's a very interesting dance. In our culture, it would be similar to jazz aerobics. But the Matsui have mastered the unusual skill of keeping their heads perfectly still while their lower body movements become increasingly pronounced.
Oh, that does sound interesting, Mrs. Hartman. Do you actually know the dance?
Yes, I do. I was there doing an article for National Geographic, and I was lucky enough to have it taught to me by several tribal warriors.
Isn't that something? Did you hear that, boys and girls?
Yeah!
Maybe we could get Mrs. Hartman to perform it for us.
Actually, it's not the kind of thing.
Please?
Well, you know, we don't have the right kind of music.
Oh, I bet we could find something. Russell, Would you like to be our radio helper today and go over there and find some nice music for Mrs. Hartman to dance to?
I'm sure Russell has better things to do with his time.
I like being radio helper.
Have they had their naps?
We don't take naps in the second grade. We're big boys and girls. Would the tempo be upbeat?
Yes, it would.
How about something like that? Now, is that peppy enough for you?
That's good. Look at there. She knows that one.
Anyway, my little girl Carson Lee's my whole life. My ex-wife Mavis is getting her master's at NYU. She's an expert on politics and feminism, both internationally and, unfortunately, in the home. John's ex is currently self-improving in Italy. If anyone had told me that either one of us had ever been divorced, I would have said you're crazy. You know, it's just not the way you think of yourself. I mean, especially with kids.
I think I should caution you, since you're in here without an appointment, that if I don't kill myself tonight, you will be billed.
Hey, I'm not in here to get my head shrunk. I'm just waiting on Mr. Carpetvac. Anyway, if you don't mind my saying so, you seem to be kind of milking this suicide thing.
If you don't mind my saying so, just because I'm in here and you and Beaver can see me through the glass doesn't mean it's okay for you to come in every day and spill your guts for free.
Beaver? You mean John? What's he doing in here?
Basically, he's upset because he wants to be Andy of Mayberry, and the town and his wife are not cooperating.
You're a little weak on this patient confidentiality thing, aren't you?
Hey, you get what you pay for.
Well, personally, I was never so sure Andy was all that happy. I mean, he lived with his aunt. And let's face it, all he and his girlfriend ever did was sit around and drink punch. I mean, just once wouldn't you like to have heard him say, "No, Floyd, I can't go bowling tonight. Helen and I are getting a motel room over Mount Pilot."
I think your grace period is up.
Fine. I just came by to tell you that we've decided you can stay. Looks like it's going to be a while before we can get a loan for all this flood damage, and in the meantime, we can use the rent money.
Thanks, you're quite a welcome wagon.
The only catch is we need a 50-year advance, and we need it by tomorrow.
Out!
Okay. But you'll be sorry. I've got candy.
I knew before I did this particular dance that it wasn't a good idea. The Matsui are very short, squatty people, and if you're even remotely lanky, well, it just looks really goofy. Oh, what could have possessed me to say okay? I mean, am I so desperate to be accepted that I can't turn down a teacher that asks me to gyrate around in front of a bunch of second graders like some crazed moth woman?
Oh, I'm sure you're overreacting. Maybe not.
I just want to be the best mother possible. But you see, my mother died when I was born, and so I'm kind of in uncharted territory here.
Maybe next time, just the collar without the belt.
The problem is I'm just very competitive. I mean, the fact that everybody started gravitating towards that moon rock table, well, that's why the dance just got bigger and bigger, and it's a big dance anyway. I just wanted so much for Elliot to win. Now, of course, I completely humiliated him. Could never go back to that school. I'll have to go into some child witness relocation program, because believe me, he has witnessed something very, very bad. And none of this would have happened if I hadn't gotten into this stupid fight with my husband over a pie.
You know, I think you should go home right now, because Beaver is feeling terrible about the way he's been behaving and would very much like to make it up to you.
Really? How do you know that?
I got a call from Gene Dixon. Anyway, I don't know what the exact etiquette is on this delicate social question, but I think you should also give this to him.
What is it?
That little fake thing he wears on his lapel. He left it here.
Thank you. Oh, by the way, how are you doing?
I feel much better, thanks. And why not? Hell, my life's not so bad. I could be one of you.
Art man,
Up here.
what are you doing?
Oh, I'm just putting away some of these boxes.
Any luck on the loan front?
No, we might as well face it. It's going to be a while before this newspaper gets on its feet again. No point in getting all crazy over it.
Really? Is this the same man who was standing in our living room last night screaming, "Booger me"?
Hey, I was still suffering from truck lag, okay? By the way, I heard Elliot didn't win.
Win? We'll be lucky if social services doesn't remove him from our home. Who told you?
Small town.
First of all, I only wore this jumpsuit so that I could model the belt and headdress. But then Miss Barnes got this little suck-up named Russell to find something peppy on the radio and started insisting that I dance. Of course, she had no idea that I was going to dart around the room like some giant speed-skating sperm.
I think you're being a little hard on yourself.
I would venture to guess that there's not another mother in this town who wouldn't know that it would be wildly inappropriate to go to her child's classroom and perform a dance in which her lower body tells the story of a young man's frenzied rite of passage from puberty to manhood.
You know, I'd like to take a look at that sometime because, speaking for myself, I'm interested in any story your lower body wants to tell.
You know, you were right, Hartman. I'm never going to fit in here. I just hope that Elliot hasn't been scarred for life.
Yeah, well, I just hope that Elliot grows up and marries someone who loves him half as much as you do.
I'm serious. I'm a complete dud. I think you should forget about me. Start dating again. You know that pie I said I baked? I lied. I bought it. I can't even buy good pies.
Come here. Actually, I was kind of waiting for you to get home. I want you to read something.
What is it?
Just open it. I've been going through my grandparents' old letters. I think this one might be to us.
My dearest Charles, when I left you last night at the train, the cords of my heart were torn asunder. Boy, they don't write them like that anymore. Is this to your grandfather?
No, the yard man. Just go on.
I have baked a cobbler today to take to Mr. Pirtle's family, but as you know, I am not very good at it. You made this up.
I swear.
What a monster this diphtheria is to take a father of 8. And I thought that I'd seen all that I could bear with last year's tornado. At least all the new shop windows are glistening again along Main Street, and it fills me with joy to know that someday the youthful faces of our family will be reflected in them. This person growing inside of me doesn't seem like a stranger at all, but rather someone I have always known.
My dad.
He is the embodiment of all who've come before us and the future of our grandchildren. That's you. What we are building here, we build for them. My fondest hope is that we're not just passing on the nails or the wood or even the lay of the town, but a feeling of community and family that the years cannot diminish. A knowledge that we were here once, that we lived the best we knew how, and that we thought of them before they were even born, scheming for their happiness, anticipating their dreams as our own, weaving our futures as one. We can only hope now for their understanding and remembrance, and that they will hold each other as dearly as we have, for lovely always. Your devoted wife, Effie.
See, Georgie, I had it all wrong. This small town thing, it's not something that's just out there that we have to fit into. It's not in the concrete or the wood. It's in here, in us. It comes from our families, who they were, who we are, who our kids are going to be. You know, now we have to build on that like my grandparents did. Okay, so this town has lost ground. Now we have to take back the best of what they gave us, and then we'll add our stuff to it.
Oh, you mean like maybe attend Sunday night church with Bum, Stump, Stinky, and their wives, and then invite them over afterwards for a little funky Matsui tribal dance hoedown?
Yeah, kinda.
I like it. And I like you. Do you think your grandmother would have liked me?
I know she does.
I'd like to believe that. Because you know, all my life I've never really felt like I belonged anywhere. And I never really wanted to. Until now.
I love you so much.
If you're coming on to me, it's working. By the way, I found your socks. They were in with my underwear.
Good. I'm glad something of mine was having fun. Don't worry. They're safe socks.
I missed you.
Hey, what's going on up there? You think I picked these kids up at school so you two can sit around and make it out in the attic? Well, our entire fake newspaper business goes south in a handbasket. We got work to do, rugs to wring out. You should be down there right now with a bunch of hair dryers.
Was there something you wanted?
I was just trying to roust you out of there lest you set a bad example for the little ones who will be arriving any moment.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Both Feet on the Floor at all times.
Hey, I'm just trying to keep all bases covered. You never know with you two. It could go either way. Georgie and John, fighting and loving, loving and fighting. The pain, the power, the passion. Not to mention all the innocent people who are drawn into their cruel web. Weekdays at 4:30.
Hey, we're home.
Look who's here!
It's Huck and Tom. They're back and they're bad.
Hey, Cookie, you still speaking to me?
Some kid said you were pretty.
Yeah, pretty bizarre.
Yeah, that's what my teacher said. Look, Georgie, I drew a butterfly for my grandmother.
Well, look at that, Carson. It's beautiful. Look, Billy Bob, she's got real talent.
Well, of course she's got talent. They're all geniuses. They're ours, aren't they? By the way, what's my mother doing over here asleep again?
Oh, she must have come in when we were upstairs.
Cool, she brought us another cake.
I'll just put this in the freezer with the other 12.
She's something else, isn't she? And she's getting old and hard of hearing. Whole town's changing all around her, and she just keeps on being who she is and doing what she does. Must be where I get it.
It doesn't matter how much the town changes, Billy, don't you see? It's not just out there, it's in here, in us. And we're gonna build it back.
What the hell's wrong with you? Who else is up there? Some kind of pod people?
This is war, Billy. And we're gonna plant some new pine trees all around that shopping center where Al Garwood has his bedspread kingdom. And we're gonna write some nasty editorials all about that smug, tattooed guy out there at the Texaco station. And we're gonna put the criminals around here on notice that no crime is too small to go unpunished.
That's right. I say steal a tampon off a Christmas tree, go to prison.
Dad, do we have to do our homework now?
No, son, you don't have to. As a matter of fact, you guys don't have to do anything for the rest of the day. You know where we're going? We're going fishing.
Fishing? Where?
You know, our secret place by the river.
Where Grandpa fished and his father before him?
That's right.
And where there's no damn tourists.
That's no dams and no tourists.
What are you, crazy? I don't want to go fishing. It's almost November. It's going to be cold out there.
Well, why don't you have your mom knit you a snowsuit, big boy?
You guys are up to something. This is a trick. I think you're trying to lure us out to the woods and steal our kidneys.
Daddy, I want you to give this to Grandma. She says if you put a butterfly on something, you'll never lose it.
Well, she does say that, doesn't she? I'll tell you what, let's take it right over here. And we'll put it right where it belongs. Now, how about that?
Good. Hey, Dad, can we have some popsicles?
Sure. Well, you guys do that. Georgie and I'll go down to the garage and get our fishing poles.
Oh, I know this story. While attending the drive-in, Billy waits in line at the concession stand while John's car rocks back and forth.
Dad, what are we doing after we go fishing?
Well, son, after we go fishing, We're gonna take a walk down Main Street and look at ourselves in all the old shop windows. And then we're gonna go to the Frosty Freeze and get us a big old bunch of cherry cokes. I know, Billy, don't tell me. Dolores the car hop is dead. I'm sure some skinheads backed over her.
No, Mom said she's on rollerblades now. And ever since the hip replacement surgery, she's faster than ever.
You're kidding! Dolores is still alive? This is fantastic, Billy! Don't you see? It's a sign. Dolores is still alive and skating. You can go home again, Billy. It's a long road and maybe you get lost along the way, but we're on it now and we're gonna take back this town.
Okay, John, whatever you say. Just don't touch me, my child, or any of our stuff. I'm just along for the ride. I'll be out in the van, even though I thought we had loans to get, kids to feed, and homework to do, criminals to catch, and casseroles to eat.
We do, but we got plenty of time for that.
That's right. As a matter of fact, we might just be here for lovely always. Welcome home.
I was walking down a highway, looking for my pants. Went back to my old high school, where I was slow but I was fast. Went swimming up a wide stream. I was tired, I couldn't last. Searching for an old dream, looking for my past. Been looking for my hometown. Here they took it off the map. Been feeling really let down.